All right, I am Chris Ferguson. Next to me is Tristan Lauder, and today joining us is Super Ali Alan Philpott. He's 29 years old, 19 and 13 record. He's featherweight and fighting at Eternal 69 on September 16. He's taking on Diego Pereira in the main event. Mate,
For me,
co-mate, it's a co-main. My apologies,
yeah.
mate. My apologies. I'm
But it's
trying
the
to
people's
trying
main event, so it's the same
to
thing.
trying to give you a pay bump, you know.
Yeah.
First of all, mate, how are you? You just got into Brizzy today, did you?
Yeah, very good. Now we're in the Gold Coast, well,
Oh, you
Southport
flew into the
Sharks.
Goldie?
Yeah, man. So just got in here early this morning. Just been chilling out really. Did a little pad session earlier and gonna get some lunch soon after this.
Very nice, mate. Very nice. What's for lunch today? Now that you're making weight
Just
later tomorrow, making weight
three
tomorrow.
bits of lettuce and two mouthfuls of tuna. Nah. I'll have some avocado, salmon, berries with nuts, and some salad. Just bit plain these next couple of days. Well, yesterday and the day mostly.
Sounds like a treat, mate. I wouldn't be
Yeah.
complaining. um, Mate. First of all, this will be what your 51st MMA fight at age
Yeah,
29.
that's correct.
That's pro and amateur together, yeah.
Yeah, 17 amateurs before I turned pro.
Yeah. So is that is that as mental to you as it is to me? Because that just seems ridiculous to me.
Nah, not really, bro. It feels a bit mad that I feel like I'm only starting to understand a bit more now, and I enjoy it a bit more for what it is, and I'm being a bit more patient with it all. But no, when I was younger, I was just like wanted everything yesterday type thing, and I put a lot of pressure on myself without even realizing it. So no, I feel like as I've got older and more experienced, that I've understood a lot more, and no, it's getting me to a nice place where I'm actually enjoying the sport.
Can you explain that journey a little bit, sort of, starting young in the sport and then to the point that you're at now?
Yeah, so I
What,
was
what
up
did
there.
what did that journey look like?
So I tried a bit of everything when I was really young. I played football, soccer, rugby, played a season, taekwondo, traditional jiu-jitsu, and then I always dipped in and out of boxing since I was a young kid because my granddad and my dad and my uncles, they were all boxers. I was fatty as well, like whenever it came to running or anything like that, it's like I was more or less the bench warmer. I mean, I was a good goalkeeper, plus because I was fat, I took up half the net. But but then it just I don't know, it just wasn't for me. I always loved like martial arts movies and shows and stuff and fighting, and like I was always had a bit of a temper, and like I always related to like punching walls or something throughout. But when I was 12, I sort of got into boxing properly for 4 years. I was never overly like a great boxer. I wanted to be a professional, and Prince Nassim was my favorite boxer. I remember he was the first one that sort of caught my attention, and I always been like, no, I want to do that. I want to be they loved the whole showboating and stuff, and but again, no, I just wasn't cut out for the boxing. And then when I was 16, I joined MMA, and no, I was like, I also had no patience. I have a bit more patience now, but when I was younger, I had none at all. And like doing the same thing over and over, it sort of took its toll, and I got bored very easy. So when I was 16, I joined MMA, and like it just evolved and constantly. And no, I just knew it was for me. And like I say, after the first 3 weeks, I took my first fight, but it was meant to be a no headshots fight, and it was just local, like basically like the novice league tournaments. And but we got there and it ended up it was just there was no ground and pound, but there was headshots. They boxed the fella twice actually in the championships. So I was like we were one each, and I was going in there to my first MMA fight, and I was like, oh, happy days, I'll get him back. And I ended up, he actually, I took him down, and he got me an armbar and tried to take Rampage Jackson and slam him with one arm. And didn't end too well, but first three fights I lost all first three, all submissions. So my coach, he stopped me from doing any striking, not the classes, but when I turned up to sparring, I wasn't allowed to spar. All I had to do was roll, and then I started turning the tables and started winning. And it was funny enough, I had more confidence grappling than I did striking then. And then like it was like 7 out of my 9 amateur wins was all submissions, won this two decisions. And then when I went pro, the first 8 pro wins were all submissions as well. So I was like, but my striking was always that bit better than everybody else because I didn't like getting hit. So I was just always in and out, in and out. But and then I got clipped in a fight, so that was like, no, it sort of made me more aware of striking. So I was, like I said, I was more confident in the grappling, and then I just kept overtaking everyone in the striking, and then people actually helped me build the confidence in striking. So then it turned into more where I was more of a striker, and my game plan was basically defend in the ground, get to your feet, and that's like it sort of it was good some fights, but I feel like it was a big minus in my game plan because, like I say, I had turned the tables, and just because I was a good striker, I was winning my fights grappling. So, like, some losses I had that I should never have had against people I should never have been beat by. But again, it was like me trying to rush to get to my feet, and obviously went over the techniques how to get there properly. But when I'm in there, I'm thinking, "Fuck, I'm in danger. Get to my feet. I'm safe." Do you know what I mean? Where I've sort of came back away from that now, and I feel like I've done a full 360, and I'm back to. I'm loving the jiu-jitsu. I'm loving the wrestling in the gym. I'm initiating attacks. I'm attacking submissions constant. No, I'm not scared to mix it up again. And the only difference is now I'm 10 times the fighter in the striking and the wrestling and the jiu-jitsu. So, no, that's where we're at now.
Long journey, mate. Long journey.
Yeah, and like I'm only 30 next week. So, like, sometimes I feel like, fuck, I don't have much time left. And then I'm thinking about my fights rather than my age. And then people reminded me, like, nah, you're only 29, like, you're coming through, like, these next 5 years are the main years. And then I'm sort of like, you know what, that's true. Just keep going.
Just like out of curiosity too, I guess moving to Eternal 69 this weekend, man, against Diego Pereira. Can we expect you to kind of mix it up a bit in terms of stand-up and grappling, or what's your kind of game plan there?
Yeah, definitely, mate. Like I say, like I'm an MMA fighter. I'm not a striker. I'm not a grappler. No, that's what got me to where I'm at, mixing it up. But also, that's why I done it because I enjoy it. You know what I mean? Last few years, I've sort of came away from that, and it was all focused on more about winning and getting to the next stage. And because I know I'm technically better than all these guys over here. They're good guys, tough guys, but I know I'm better. Like what I do in the gym, I haven't even shown in any fight. My fight against Shay Walsh was close, and it was only 1 round, but that was mostly just on the striking. But I proved that when he took me down, I could get back up. I took him down. I was punching the face off him, and like, he's a very, very high caliber fighter. I'm training with like Josh every day. I've done training with like all the best in Oz, and like I'm matching them in training. Sometimes I'm turning up and they aren't. I'm getting the better, and then I'm going into fights, and it's like I'm taking away half my own game, focusing on like certain areas to try and win. Where now, to be honest, I just don't even care about the result. I don't care about what's next. I just want to get in here and have a fight. Like that's the reason I called Diego out in the first place, because he can fight. Like it wasn't even that I didn't against him at all. Now I think he's just a wee bitch. No, I mean he dodged me for 2 years and they tried to pick and choose. And no, I get it for the title fights, fair enough. But like the last fight he won was against that guy 2-0 from Perth. I can't pronounce his name, so I apologize. But no, good fighter, good on the feet. But he got that fight just to win. Whenever I was asking for that fight, do you know what I mean? So no, you're going to see. Like I've reinvented myself as a person. No, that's why I changed the name. I'm sick of like the apprentice. No, apprenticeship's over, and I don't want that mindset I used to have. Now it's not a Super Ali, and it's no. I'm coming to show everyone that what I'm truly capable of.
There's a couple things there that you said that I want to touch on. First, so the beef with Diego, that just started because you thought he was ducking you. That's how that all kicked off?
At the start, I had respect for him. I've never picked an easy fight. Let's be serious. No, I've never looked for an easy fight, and then I've never even entertained like someone an easy fight. Don't get me wrong, a fight's a fight, but if there's someone I know that I'm going to go in and absolutely dominate, and that the levels of difference, like I can't get motivated for that. It doesn't do it for me. That's not why I do this sport. No, I want the challenge. I want the best. And Diego, no, he has been sitting up around the top for a long time. We're both we're not unbeaten. We're not like killing everyone, but we're both up there. We both can fight, and like he mixes it up, and that's what I want. I want fighters. I don't want these people like Justin Van Heerden that want to come and grind you for 3 rounds, and like that's not fighting. You're here to fight. So mate, mix it up, have a crack, test your skills in every department.
I did see that you and Justin went back and forth a little bit on Instagram again the other day.
He's just a wee, like, he's just so fake. It's unbelievable. Like, he tries to have this beef last time, and as soon as we seen him in the sauna, he was trying to be nice, fist bumping and that. And then after the fight, I was fully respectful. Like, he beat me fair and square. Like, he choked me out. I went in there prepared what I thought was the best me. In the fight, I didn't perform the best, but I still was pinging the face off him. Like, after he took me down, and I attacked for an armbar, I got back to my feet. I stuffed all the rest of his takedowns. I even took him down, and then on the feet, like, he didn't even land anything. And no, I rocked him. I remember the head kick that I threw. I buckled his knees and put him on the cage. No, and I was only getting started. I made a mistake of turning in the triangle, and he's good. Like, he's good jiu-jitsu. He's strong, so he found it. But after that, I was fully respectful. Took it on the chin. No, he won fair and square. There's no excuses at all. And still to this day, I'm not going to make any excuses. And then he just started talking, because I said I pinged him, like, which means you're picking him off, and like, he took this as an attack, and there was no attack whatsoever. And then he started talking shit on some other podcast and that was fine. And then he messaged me trying to be nice and trying to be friends, and I'm like, no, you don't do that. No, if you're going to give someone shit and have beef, like, it's on. So I mean, we'll sort it out. So that's where that's at. No, like, that's good. No, Diego, I've got him. I put him away, and then I'll move on and try and get Justin again, because he is the man to beat now. Do you know what I mean? He's Jack Jinx is away, so Justin's the top guy. And like I say, I don't want the ones below me. I want the ones higher.
And just before as well, you touched on talking about your mind state heading into this and the change of nickname as well. You saw a sports psychologist at a certain point as well, didn't you?
Yeah. So again, I was feeling that I was negative and just couldn't. There was a mental blockage in there, and no, I started working. Over the years, I've worked with different ones, and like, I've been inconsistent. But one thing I'm doing a lot of is like a lot of breath work and stuff, and it's been performance breath work. Again, I did start with Dave Wood, who works with the CKB boys, but now I'm working with a guy, Ben Watson, who's an ex-fighter, but he's in Sydney. No, and it's like, it's a lot of the things. My problem was the confidence of gassing, and it turned out it was like, it was my breath. Like, no, I wasn't being in control of my breath at the right time and wasting the energy at the right time. And no, that's been the biggest game change, to be honest. But then working with Dave Naive from New Zealand, who also works with the New Zealand CKB boys, he just made me realize, like, no, who I am, why I do it, and like, to focus on the fight and go in there and let it go, and not focus with all the exterior things. And that's been the biggest difference. And also now, like, the realistic thing is, I could go in and get beat. I could get caught in any way. And at the end of the day, there's no point worrying and focusing on that. If I focus on worrying that, there's a bigger chance of that happening. Where if I go in and focus on what I can do to him, well, then there's more chance of that happening. And that's where the big turnaround's been.
Yeah, just on that too, Alan. Just I guess up until now, there's kind of a bit of a stigma behind people using sports psychiatrists and stuff like that. Maybe especially fighters think it's kind of weak or anything or something like that. So just wondering, what's your perspective on people who think that?
No, I think, if you need it, you need it. It's good. Like, some people don't, some people do. Like, everyone's different. No, there's nothing wrong with getting a little bit of help here and there. Like I say, like, it just purely depends on the person. No, the main thing is getting the right one to make you realize, like, to answer the questions that you want answered. There's a lot of ones out there that think, it's like nutritionists. You could go to a PT and they could give you a diet for a fight, but they don't know the fight game the same. And you've got professionals in the fight industry that can't do that. I mean, and that's just the same. Like, you got psychiatrists and sports psychiatrists, but they're for different types of sports, or like relationships, or different types of things. I mean? So yeah, I think, it's purely just down to the person, and if they need it or not, and then if they go and search and they get the right answers.
All right, we'll move back onto the fight itself now. I got us a little bit off track there. Sorry, boys. How did it feel to finally get the matchup put together after, calling for it and wanting it for so long?
Yeah, it was good, mate. It was good. Like, no, but he's got no option now. I mean, who does he fight next? I mean, we're both there's no one else he really fights. Like, anyone else is just below, and it's like, no, you're going to keep moving backwards. No, to move forwards, you have to fight higher, and I just feel like it's the right fight for both of us at the right time. Not as much as I wanted it back then. Maybe when I first called it, it was a good time. We were both a bantamweight, and then no, he moved up, and I stayed about, and then I couldn't get fights, and then I had knee surgery, and I'm only back. And like I say, he's beat Justin in the past, and Justin just beat me, but he's obviously not the top contender. Like he's won one fight in his last four. Like he's gotten beat by all the top contenders, and the one fight he won, like I said, it was a 2-0, and he was given that fight to win. Let's just face this, just be real. That's the reality of it. Like that was the getting back on track. Where no, I've been out a long time. I came back. I got beat by the number one contender. No, so that makes me number two. No, I mean, Can Offley, he turned me down. He wouldn't fight me, so I've already beat him. That's me 1-0 against him, so he can get behind me as well. So no, it's it. No, it's me and Diego, and if he wants to move forward, he needs to fight me.
Just out of curiosity too, what did you think of Diego's last outing with Brian Gray and where he kind of lost because of disqualification there?
I was there, like I was at it, and no, he was obviously giving Ryan a bit of a beating. But no, like he didn't. He was dirty in what he done. Though he didn't look for his shots at all. He was just throwing. But at the same time, though, I don't think it was intentional, or maybe one or two of them was. Just because he was, I don't know. But from where I was sitting, like it didn't look too intentional. He was just caught in the moment. But it was like he wasn't careful and he wasn't really trying or caring. Maybe he thought they could get away with it, or that the referee would break it off the cage and restart them or something. But like I was actually matched to fight Ryan on the show. I fought Justin. That was the fight that was going to happen. And then Ryan came over to me and said that he won't be making it. So that's how I got Justin. But Justin had turned me down previously as well. So no, that's why I had to talk a little bit of shit just to get a bite on him, and then that happened.
So you're coming off a 2-fight skid now, obviously. What does a win for you on September 16? What does that mean?
Yeah, like obviously I'm doing this to win. I mean, it's good. Like I'm not going in there to get beat. I don't want to get beat. Like I'm not training to get beat. No, I'm training harder and harder every time. Everything. Like I'm trying to fix all the holes, but I'm not focused on the win whatsoever. Like I said before, like I just want to go in and have a fight, man. I just fucking have a good crack and do what I know I can do, because I know if I do perform the way I've been training, that I'll beat any of these boys. And then that puts me up the ladder, which gets me further, which gets me closer to bigger challenges. And that's where it is for me now. Like I've accepted, like I'm not the best fighter in the world. I might never be the best fighter in the world. I might not get the UFC or whatever, and that's fine. I don't need to. I mean, I got myself a job that I really enjoy, and I stepped away from the coaching side, and I'm making a bit of money now, and I'm just like, you know what, life's so much better than fucking just struggling, trying to chase it. And there's so much corruption and political shit happening in MMA these days. It's not even as fun. I mean, like, I was going through some heavy shit over the last few months. Like, no, I've been sleeping in my car, sleeping on people's sofas. No, I was homeless. Like, don't get me wrong, I wasn't on the street, so I was very grateful. I was injured at a certain stage. I got sick. My dog, she went on heat, so that limited places we could stay. And then I just started the job, and I was in camp, so everything was literally upside down. And then last week or 2 weeks ago, last week she had emergency surgery. No, like my dog's my everything. I mean, she's all I've got, and I've all she's got. Like I've got my family and friends, but like she's my baby. Do you know what I mean? So like that was like my emotions were getting tested constant, and I realized like I don't like the fighting was the only thing that sort of kept me focused, because I had to fight. I stayed disciplined and motivated, and I was like, you know what, like I'm doing this now because I want to do it. Like I don't have to do this if I don't want to. Like I say, I got that job, and for the first time in years, I'm actually making a little bit of money, and it's nice. Do you know what I mean? It's nice. Like I'm only in the gym when I want to, and I honestly have never felt as sharp in my life. And I feel like taking that little step back from the seriousness and taking all the seriousness out of it, and I'm just enjoying every moment of it. Like I'm sitting here ready to cut weight, no, deplete it, and I don't give a fuck. I'm loving it. No, it's a challenge. I'm enjoying it. You know what I mean? I'll go in here, I'll give my all, whether it lasts a minute, whether it lasts 15 minutes, whatever. I'm from the bell. I'm going to come and fight, and that's what it is about for me now, because no, like I say, I do feel like I am technically better than these guys, but end of the day, it's a fight and anything could happen. So you win some, you lose some. But now decisions and stuff like that, I don't care. I just want to fight.
Yeah, when you start looking at fighting like that, it makes you a pretty dangerous opponent for a lot of people, I
Yeah,
think.
so, do you know what I mean? And I appreciate, and it's me, like all that shit. It's made me appreciate so much more, and also realize that how much like I don't need to depend on people and stuff like that. Because like there's people I know you expect to be there for you, and they aren't. And then there's people you would never expect to be there, and then they are, and it's just like it just makes me like stop having so much expectations and just focus on yourself, have a good life, and just enjoy it. Do you know what I mean? Like there's a lot more out there, and there's a lot worse out there. Doesn't mean that I can't suffer and struggle with my problems too, but there is a lot worse. I could have been a lot worse. You know what I mean? And like I say, I've chose this, so there's no point making it any harder than it needs to be.
So, aside from having to sleep in your car and bouncing around houses and everything through this training camp, what else?
Yeah.
Like, how's it gone for you? Like, you been just training with Josh down at is it Barabina or Eagle?
So I work with Johnny Barabena at Benavides at Legends Gym for my striking, and then I do my MMA at Igor's. But that's with Josh. But we all train together, like all the Igor MMA team, the fight team. We all train with Johnny, and then we've got all our teammates. It's just kickboxing, like Justin Shen and Nico Gonzalez, Cameron Powell. And there's loads of ones, and we all train together. We're all one big team, just like two different gyms type thing. But this time, because I had more time, I started going to Sydney West Martial Arts out in Penrith, which is the best grappling gym in Australia. No, they're Luke Martin's the coach there. You got Ethan Thomas, Jeremy Skinner. You got Big Subo and loads and loads. I mean, I'm getting tired of knots, but I'm loving it. And then through the weeks, I've been seeing a lot of progression there, and I'm able. And that's it again. I'm finding my attacks on the ground again, and I'm getting so confident. I'm doing rounds on rounds and not gassing, and that was a massive turnaround for me. And then also with the breathing, with Ben, like getting control of my breath whenever I am gassed, and realizing when to exert more and when to pull back. And so that I'm just doing a lot of other different little things that I didn't have time before because I was coaching all day and doing PTs, and I was just scraping by. So I was like stressing, but that was the biggest added to this camp was getting more jiu-jitsu in, which was obviously needed too to get the brain muscles firing again. And like I say, I feel like I'm back to myself where I'm mixing it all up and attacking from everywhere.
We actually touched on breath control a bit with Diego as well. It's something that he practices. I'm just wondering, like, what kind of exercise specifically do you kind of do? And I guess how important do you think it is for a fighter to do so?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it changed my life, not even just for training, but in general. Do you know what I mean? I have done the Wim Hof stuff as well. Like, it's good, but it's a lot different. Do you know what I mean? It's totally different. It's the stuff that I'm doing is more like being able to hold your breath and like getting used to that feeling of when you're gassing, you feel like you're drowning, you can't breathe. It's being able to like bring yourself back round and get rid of all that carbon monoxide and like little short breaths in, like getting the heart rate back down straight away. And it has massively helped me. Like I feel fitter and better than I've ever felt. I'm in great shape now, and like a lot of it is down to the breath work, definitely.
So being in the gym with Josh and all the other lads that you sort of mentioned there, who's the biggest shit talker out of the bunch? Who gives the best banter?
Definitely me. Like I'm the fucking mouthpiece, mate. He tries, but he can't. He's just shit. He's shit. But I'm the clown, mate. I'm the dead end there. Like I'll just tell him how it is, and I'll tell him in a nice way, or I'll tell him in a bad way. I'll joke with them. But yeah, these Aussies don't have the same banter.
That's a bit rough. That's a bit rough.
It's like a toothpaste.
It's surely got to help drive motivation in the gym though when you're both ragging on each other.
Oh, 100%. Like, no, it's great. Like, everyone is good. We're all fucking, like, we're all cooked, man. Like, the stuff, like, see if we had a couple of episodes or a camera or something, like, just watching us, now they'd probably end up the men in the white coats would come and lock us up. Like, I'm not joking, man. The stuff, like, my coach, Johnny, man, Like he's up there. Like me and him were probably two of the most cooked people in the whole team. And that's going on to everybody else. And now the younger generation's coming through, the little Perry Smith and Shai Krimitat and that, and they're starting to get cooked too. So it's like, it's good. The more cooked, the better.
It helps in this line of work, eh?
Yeah, you need to sort of bring out that. Sorry, what'd you say?
I'm going to cut you off. I'm interested, Alan, like you're talking about before about, shit talking in the gym and whatnot, and maybe there's some differences in banter between, Ireland and Australia. And I was wondering if there's like culturally or like even technique in terms of MMA styles and stuff. Is there a big difference between Australian MMA, maybe MMA in Ireland or in England or wherever?
That's a hard question, really, mate, to be honest. I think maybe back in like a few years back, like I feel like the Aussies were more scrappy and and they just loved a fight. You know what I mean? But now the level over here is pretty high, bro. Like, look, you've got the Whittaker was a champ. You got Volkanovski. No, you got Josh, Jamie Malarkey. No, Jack Della. Loads of Aussies. Casey O'Neill. Who else? Jake Matthews. Justin. Jacob McCundle. There's a lot more Aussies in the UFC than there is in the from UK probably or Ireland. I feel like the level over here has really high. Like that's before when I was looking at the talent here when I first came, like Gustavo Falsaroli. When I fought him, he was at the top, and after him there wasn't really any more bantamweights. I mean, I beat him, I went number one, and then it was like, fuck, who do I fight next? Do you know what I mean? Where now it's like, no, there's less of people you can fight there, and like even the next generation coming through, they're even scarier. I mean, you got that wee man like Cody Haddon and stuff. Like the likes of them, they're only young, man, and like they're smashing it. Like, and they, to be fair, like seeing them boys, that's what sort of gave me a little kick up the arse to pick up in the gym too, and sort of right, where am I going wrong? Because if I meet these boys and they're performing like that, and I'm performing the way I have been performing, I'm not going to last. I mean, it's the same as when I went home. I went home for 6 weeks and I was training with my gym in Liverpool, England, that I train at Aspire Combat Sports Academy. And like the kids that I used to teach and that and sort of train over, mate, they're taking rounds just now. Like they're unreal, brown belts, they're turning pro, and like the level is high. You know what I mean? And it's like you're looking back and you're like, fuck. I remember when I was just playing with these guys, like playing just to warm up and that. And now, like they're the ones that could easily get me ready for fighting.
They grow up so fast, mate. Eh?
Nah, bro. Like I say, every year, like every generation, just seems to get better and better and better. So I don't really think it's more like the culture. I think, well, and plus there's a lot of internationals over here. Like you got loads of Brazilians and people like loads of Muay Thai fighters and that. But MMA is also a sport now as well. Like I feel like maybe Australia was a wee bit behind in like mixing it together. I mean, they always had like good disciplines separately, but now that everyone's learning to mix it together, the level's definitely high over here, as high as I've seen anywhere, to be honest.
Yeah, it's pretty mental at the moment. So yeah, you got stuck over in the UK for a little bit. How did that sort of? How did that play out? You went over for a UFC gig
So I went
to corner Josh.
Yeah, I went to Singapore to corner Josh, and then I was meant to go home for 3 weeks, but because my passport was going to expire, I went on a emergency passport, and then I was like, oh, when I'm home, I'll renew it, thinking that I'll because you used to be able to go up on the day, pay a little bit extra, wait a few hours and get it, or maximum a week. But with all COVID and the backlogs and stuff, everything was delayed. So then I was like, shit. So I had to go up and get it, and then I had to wait for it. So then, funny enough, the morning I was originally supposed to fly out, the passport came that evening or afternoon. And I was like, fuck's sake. But the flights were extortionate, man. They were so expensive. And it was like a one-way flight back is all I needed. Even though I had a flight and I couldn't come, I was able to get a voucher for that, but I couldn't use it because the company were like so hard to work with, and I needed to just book a flight and get back. Like I said, I had my dog as well, and that was the most stressful thing because like I had friends and family and stuff like looking after, and then it was maybe 3 weeks, and then that's an extra 3 weeks. That's a long time. So I was trying to get her like organized, and then I was trying to like obviously I wasn't making money, so and then I had to work with my dad to get some money together, and then finally I got a flight an extra 3 weeks later and came back. But it was good, but like it was good because apart from that, like I got to reconnect with my old gym. No, see my family who I haven't seen in 4.5 years. No, I've got new little baby cousins. Some friends have had kids. No, and like I got to do a lot of things that I probably wouldn't have got to have done if I was only there for the 3 weeks. And no, it was good to sort of realise that why I left as well, because I only came over to Australia for a fight an ACB. Had 5 week holiday booked and then just never left. I was like, fuck, I'm not leaving, I'm staying. So when in
It's
New
too
Zealand
goody.
got, yeah, man, it was paradise. So when in New Zealand got a visa and came back and all that. But yeah, it was nice to get there. But I'm glad I got, like, I'm not staying there, that's for sure.
Sounds like we trapped you here for a while, then, eh?
Yeah, oh man, if I can stay here forever, I'll be here. Like,
I'm curious, man, because I've spent quite a lot of time overseas, living overseas as well, and every time I come back to Australia, it always feels pretty strange. It's kind of a surreal, I guess, culture shock feeling, man. So I'm just wondering how that experience was for you, going back over to
yeah,
Ireland after 4.5 years.
yeah, it's different, very different. Like I'm from a pretty small town, and all, and there's to be fair, there's not much hope there for anyone there. If you don't settle down too early or get yourself a career, that like the town's just full of drugs and negativity. You know what I mean? It's got worse, to be honest, since I've been away. So it was like it was actually sad, to be honest. It's sad to see how bad it's even got, and also how everyone's doing the exact same stuff, but they're just a little bit older. That was the biggest negative towards from it. Like, but no, it made me realize that I've made the right choice, and no, as much as I miss my family and friends, that life for me is not there. And I came back here, and it just you feel the weight off your shoulders as soon as you get off the plane. I mean,
Is that?
even when it's raining and stuff here, it's better. Like,
It's only going to rain for a couple of days. You know that. That's
I hope
it.
so. Last year we had
Yeah.
no summer at all in Sydney.
Yeah. Is that sort of a lifestyle you thought you could have possibly fallen into if you stayed back at home and not come over to Australia, or had mixed martial arts sort of dragged you out of that sort of path by then?
Yeah, that's the MMA definitely steered me away because when I was younger, though, like I say, I was the reason I got called the apprentice because I was in the gym. I was sitting on my bag waiting for my gym to open up, and I was the last one out because I used to clean the mats. And then my coach used to take me to all the shows, and I was in the corner with him and stuff, and like I was his apprentice, and that's how I got the name. But no, when I was doing all that, everyone I ran about with was in the parks, getting drunk, taking drugs, doing whatever. No, and like it was just no, it wasn't for me at all. Like I started partying a wee bit later on in life. But no, like the MMA is what helped direct me down the right path. And no, I was never good at school or anything like that, and it sort of was the only thing that I had that it was half decent at, and it kept me out of a lot of trouble most of the time.
Just another question for me in terms of going back home. So a little birdie told me that maybe you might have had a bit of an ayahuasca experience while you're over
Uh,
there or something.
It was the mushroom, the magic mushrooms. Yeah, man, it was like again that was whenever. So I went in there like looking answers. I wasn't like a partier, and like that's where I started doing the. So the guy was going down. That's where I started doing the Wim Hof breath work. And then it was like released and then these trips and stuff, and it was mind blowing. Like, and I just knew that, like I say, I knew there was more in there, and there was something blocking me. So obviously, seen the benefits of it, and seen a lot of people talk about it over the years and stuff. So I give it a crack. You know what I mean? I went in there, and I never done the ceremony before, and it was fucking different gravy. Like this shit was unbelievable. I'll just put it that way. But I feel like I got inside my head and actually started unlocking a lot of things. And no, I believe that if I hadn't done that, maybe them tough times I was going through, that I wouldn't have been able to handle as good, because I'd already said to myself, and that like when I was in the trip and that, and we were setting out a fire at one of the stages, and it was really getting in my head, and it was like, I just need to keep focusing on me and give myself more time and start taking time out and stop like worrying about everybody else and trying to focus on other things, and just slow down a bit and enjoy life, and whatever comes your way comes your way. Just accept it, work around it, and just keep moving forward. You know what I mean? And then next thing I'm hitting all these, I'm over the other side of the world. I'm my life's upside down. I've nowhere to live, and I've got a dog, and like she's getting sick, and then I'm might be getting ready for a fight that I've been trying to get for 2 years, and I'm like, fuck, of all these things coming at me, and it's like, well, you told yourself that, so now it's time to put it to test, and I believe that it's changed me as a person, mate. To be honest,
And that's sort of what you were looking. That's what you were looking for out of the whole experience, was to just.
Like I went in there looking for answers. Like I said, I was proper lost for years, and no, I knew it was, but I was trying different things, but I feel like that was the key.
Getting back to your dog when you touched down in Australia, what was that feeling like, mate? Because I know that I'd be bawling my eyes out. I swear to God.
Well, that was the first thing I done. Like I was fucking got her straight away. Like no, she's like I say, she's my little baby, man. Like the reason I was in the car and stuff was that, I mean, because I had the dog. Like when she came on heat, so I was staying at my mates, and he's got a male dog, and they're best mates, my dog and his. But then when she came on heat, because they both weren't de-sexed, no, it was just too much. And then like I didn't want to just put it on people, because it's not that messy, but it's still, you get little drips here and there, and it's just if you're not on it, it can be messy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, it's just this like again, but I was just like, I didn't want to have to keep depending on people, and so I was just like, no, I had to do what I had to do. Like I say, I missed her more than anything when I was away. That was the biggest stress about being away. No, and trying to get back so much, and then as soon as I seen her, man, it was just like, oh, come here.
Oh, that's a beautiful story. Just a couple more things from us before we let you go. I just want to know, so the New South Wales Novice League, that's something that you're involved in, yes?
Yeah, so I was going to start my own, and then I was speaking to Francis, who's part of Waco, and Francis McCardle, and we just put our heads together, and we were like, no, we can do this and try and get it up, and this to help build the grassroots of MMA. Like, no, I was involved in the IMAF, but again, with the whole political and stuff side of it, I'm like, I can't be bothered with that. Like, no, we're here to help these kids. It's not about the coaches. It's not about anybody. It's about the fighters. And unfortunately, that's not what it's about for a lot of people. So my thing was like, no, right, you've got the IMAF, you've got the shows, you've got nothing to get them before the shows. Like, just walking into a cage for your first time, that's pretty intimidating for some people. Some people can handle it and some can't. But also, there's not enough competitions or shows. Like, it was actually like seeing all the guys in my gym, like how they were ready to start competing, but they weren't ready for the shows, but there was nothing for them. I mean, a couple of kickboxing fights, a couple of jiu-jitsu fights, but they needed something else. So that's whenever I decided, no, it'll be good to get the MMA, but just take the headshots out of it. Have a couple of different opponents on the day. You're still the same, though. I mean, you're aiming for the chest. The only difference is they're aiming there, you're aiming here. So you're still taking down. We've took out some submissions and stuff and made it really, really novice. And we hadn't had any injuries. Hundreds of people coming through, and we've actually got like myself and Francis. We've got a lot of teams involved, and now you have guys who's going into these fights, and they've maybe got like 20 mat fights. Do you know what I mean? And they've got a lot of experience competing now. And then when they're going into the cage, they don't look out of place at all. And they're obviously going to be a little bit more nervous, but they're still like, okay, like I've done this sort of before type thing. And that was what it's about. It was just about building the grassroots and to get them ready for the shows. That was the whole aim for it.
There's definitely a bit of a gap in the market there for sure. Like, it's kind of a strange thing actually seeing a lot of amateurs at these big or like shows or pubs or something like that. Like that kind of atmosphere must be pretty hard to see
promoters are ready. It's like even like some of the roles, man, like like letting kids elbow and heel hook and knees and stuff. Like no, that's not good. Like you don't want that. Do you know what I mean? It's bad enough seeing adults do and get hurt. Why would you want kids and like teenagers and people starting out doing that? Like I'm watching for a proper MMA show, Silverback Fight Series. It's in October, and no, even there I've took out knees to the head in certain roles because again, like this is an amateur show. This is to try and get people started in the sport, trying to get them experience, to build up, like give them opportunities to get them ready for when it is time to move on to even the IMAFs or to go on to pro or they get on to shows like Eternal. No, like this is my aim to try and help build, not to get them out there early and help risk them. Like the less you do, the better it is. No less is more nearly. I mean, they can go in and fight once a month or twice a month at these types of rules.
Yeah, that's it. You're not copping as many injuries, so you're literally just there to get the experience and get a feel for it. That's what it should be.
Exactly.
Last one from me, unless Tristan, do you want to ask the last question?
Yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Alan, who has the better fish and chips, Ireland or Australia?
Oh, definitely Ireland, mate. The food over here is nothing compared to home. 100%. Nothing. If you ever come to Sydney, there's a couple of Irish chippies. Hit me up and I'll take you and you'll see the difference. But even they are still aren't the same, but they say they're the best of the bad bunch.
Do you fuck with vinegar on chips?
Salt and vinegar, mate, all day. Yeah, defo.
It is.
But
Look,
the biggest thing's the chocolate, man. See the chocolate back home compared to here is a different level.
Oh, look, I'm a massive fan of a good Cadbury block, so you might be.
Send me over your address, bro. I'll send you some. Irish shop in Bondi, bro. Honestly, game changer.
Legend, mate. Legend. Awesome. Alan, thank you for 45 minutes of your time today before your fight, mate. I appreciate that. Looking forward to seeing you at the weekend at Eternal 69, September 16. What's that? That's Friday. You're on Friday,
That's Friday, mate. Yeah, and then on Saturday you'll see me starting my 30th celebration a week early with a beer.
Winner. Good stuff, mate. All right. We'll talk to you soon, mate. Thank you.
All right, boys. Cheers.
Cheers, mate.
Thanks, mate.